Listen, I want to just take a moment here and just give you context. So we set up this session to have a couple of the MMA members, and in particular MMA project that we're working on, to kind of walk through with you some of what we're doing within a thing we call AI Leadership Coalition. This is the largest coalition of marketers. In fact, I think if I remember all these slides, forgive me, see if that works. Okay. I think we believe, I'm pretty sure, confident, that it's the largest coalition of marketers working to advance AI. So you can see some of the representative companies here that are part of this. We're up to 165 companies and 315 members that are all working against a series of experiments. And in fact, what that agenda looks like is that there are 4 communities already set up here, as you can see: content creative, audience and media, measurement and attribution, and responsible AI run by Alec Foster, who's sitting here in the front row. And then we're also doing a series of educational themes. In fact, Rex Briggs is in the process of writing a book called AI Conundrum. Rex, you're speaking tomorrow afternoon, I think, in here. Yeah, really, you got to come back. If you like AI, that's probably the best presentation you hear. But also, for the second time for the MMA, starting next week, Monday, April 22nd, we are running a 5-day virtual, so it's just midday, hour-long each, sessions training MMA members on AI and how it works. And it's a nice combination of giving you a fundamental thesis about, like, you know, the basics of AI to marketing and some hands-on, but also getting to some of the technical background so that you all begin to learn this. As I kind of said in my opening speech today, you do need to learn a new language here that's going to come. We're also doing a series of events and webinars. We actually have a podcast called Decoding AI Marketing. We've got a newsletter. There's a bunch of stuff that MMA is doing to help advance marketers, which is the fundamental thesis of what a trade group should do. Our job is to advance an industry into the future aggressively. We also, though, and it kind of brings us to this session, there are 40 some odd new knowledge initiatives that we have going on. Part of them is a consortium for AI personalization, which you just saw Ramy Kent from Progressive present a version of that over in the other room just a few minutes, half an hour, 15, 20 minutes ago. We'll also have probably 24 actual either experiments or guides that are in process within those 4 working groups. And so what we want to do is just show you just a couple of tastes of that. So first up, let me see if I have any more slides in here that matter. You can, if you're a member, you can register for the training. If you're not a member, if you write me, Greg at MMA Global, I will let you in. We'd be happy to have you do that, just as a fact of sort of being here today and, you know, skipping Pitbull. And then we also have a real AI guide is one of the things we've done. So, okay. And then, oh, by the way, we are having an event, an AI-specific event in Vegas in August. So we'd love to have you join us there. MMA is going to take over the programming of the marketing track of that for that event. So please feel free to join us for that. So with that, the 2 sessions we have today are interesting. One is Vinny from Hershey's, which I suspect you all know, has been doing an experiment in using AI in order to be able to do, it's kind of a variation of the personalization, it's geographical personalization at scale, is one way to put it. But it's a very interesting example about how they were really, it's a very interesting business. Vinny, I'll let you explain it. I mean, I feel like I want to get into it because you told me, it's very interesting. And then we're super excited too to introduce a new project that hasn't been talked about anywhere publicly. In fact, we haven't even told the board of directors we're doing it, I think, right? Yeah. So really trying to that's always risky on stage. Vassilis here is the head of research for the MMA, and he is working on a project with Media.Monks, Wesley Haar, if I get that right, I'm pretty close. But Wes here, who's the head of Media.Monks, you don't know, S4 Capital, brand new digital agency, some years old at this point, but they have been working to try to create an agent-based understanding of consumers, personas. I'll let them explain it better than I just did. But what's interesting about that, and Vaz will talk about this then, if you're interested in participating as a marketer or otherwise, in doing an experiment with us around that, we are in the process just right now of soliciting marketers to join into that. And it's, you know, actually, Wes, you said at the board meeting, but basically we're going to take, I'll let you explain it in your the way that you do. But basically, it's taking you was 3 months of focus group and other quantitative research you do to build insights, to do campaigns, and condense that into just a couple of hours. So with that set up, I'll let them go with that. Vinny, I think I'm going to step off stage. You're going to go first. Sure. I'll give you a clicker.
Sure. I don't think I need that. I got this. Oh, okay. We're good.
If you would give a big welcome to Vinny Rinaldi, that'd be great. Thanks, everyone.
Trying to get this to work. There's going to be a video that comes up, but this is not moving us. Hopefully your demo goes a little bit better, at least the slides. Okay, so appreciate it. So we partnered with Chalice Custom Algorithms recently during our biggest tentpole event, which was Halloween, to really deliver a greater business outcome than we thought about from a media perspective. So what we're going to talk through a little bit about is how we got there, but the premise of this was that when we sell all of our product at the beginning of the year, I know by July if I'm going to have a really good Halloween, because all the retailers already bought all of our products. The goal then is to move it off shelf as much as we can before November 1st. And this is the same thing with Valentine's Day, Easter, holiday season, as well as Halloween. The reason for that is on markdown day, November 1st, our products are discounted heavily. Great from a consumer perspective to buy more, but not good for us because then our next year buy would be significantly less if we don't move enough off shelf. So as we were thinking about this, we said, okay, well, when I buy media right now, most of my media is bought on reach. Most of my media goes to about 5 cities in the US, which is a problem because there's a lot of people between LA and New York that we miss. How do we tell the bidder to not miss the markets that matter the most? So when we partnered with Chalice, we were basically saying, how do we reimagine what mass reach actually looks like through a very personalized lens? So we don't have first-party data, but our first-party data is actually tied to sales. We get SKU-level data by zip code by every single retailer in America. So we have a treasure chest of understanding how our product is moving. How we use that and leverage it in the bidder is what we really thought about. So when you think about this, every store sells at different rates, every market works a little bit differently, but everyone participates in Halloween. So how do I make sure that it's our products moving off the shelf? Really thinking about our ad spend based on how fast that product is moving is where we set our sights. So as we use that insight, we really said, okay, well, mass reach reimagined is how we solve this. Instead of just hitting the markets on the outer layers in the high-level blue areas, how do we drive every market that matters? We need to feed the data to the platform. So all of these markets that all of a sudden showed up were the markets that were underperforming. Typically, every single retailer, we need to hit a national average of give or take around 84 to 85%. Some retailers are higher, but none go below that number. So we said is every market in the 5 weeks leading up to to Halloween, every single week, we'll tell the bidder to only focus on the markets that are underperforming that average. So that was the solution we created that sat across Trade Desk, Facebook, and YouTube across a high level of being fed to the algorithm. Each platform still had to be individually bought, so we didn't crack the code of buying across all of these different platforms. But the layer of algorithm that got fed this data set across all of them. So we put this into market, and we had control markets exposed. When you do that in theory, we had over 1,000 line items at one point. And it was like, okay, well, you can't do that. We'll never manually get there. It'll take too much time. Each market by zip code can't be a line item. We built a custom AI allocator with Chalice that allowed us to automate all those line items into one. So that one line item bid anywhere the bid was requested, but then unpacking within that algorithm was multiple bidders, different machine learning to actually inform all of this, but it was, again, software that allowed us to go really fast. So as we thought about this more, we built a tailored solution. We knew how much candy shipped. So again, going back to I knew my season already. How much do we have to sell that's still left? Again, week by week market analysis. How much ad inventory is available in those markets? Because again, as you start thinking about some of these markets, they get small really fast. And then making sure that we knew the optimal price to spend per market. All of those things built into the AI allocator that drove action. So you think about this was week 1. We started 0% sell-through, or we had a little bit at that stage because Halloween candy seemingly goes on store shelves now in August. So we get ahead of it into September. Here's what we're seeing, spend by this. As the weeks go on, each week we insert new data and we understand every single zip +4 market and how much product is still left to move. By weeks 5, we have a full action of how much needs to move at a faster level based on the sell-through rate. So when we brought all of this data together, this is really where we understood collapsing all of these touch points across cross-platforms, feeding all of the data itself into the algorithm that sat in that Hershey logo in a way, and then informed each platform specifically. But the output was really interesting. Each market we measured based on all of those different weeks. So every week we understood where sell-through was. Each market then started to grow as we spent money. As we kept growing and got even closer, all these markets started to catch up and actually surpass what our national average was. So when we looked at this, again, controlled and exposed markets, we still ran this nationally across every single market, but these are how we showed both our business as well as the performance of this event, that it worked. And what worked the most is not only were we working with a partner that built a custom solution, we didn't have to spend money on actual data costs that sit in most platforms. We weren't targeting Halloween candy buyers from last year. We were just taking business-based data, zip code level, SKU level sales, feeding an algorithm and buying in real time. All of those incremental costs went back towards working media. So not only did we get a sharper solution, we put way more of our budget into market with the reduction of all these costs. So at the bottom line, you think about all these different things. Seasonal candy sales are our number one driver of our business, quite honestly, especially during Halloween. Halloween category growth grew this year over 7%, and we outpaced the category by 10 basis points within the season. Not only that, we only use one of our partners, and I won't name the retailer. We only use one of our retail-based data to inform this, just to get a learning and see if it worked. That one retailer beat national sell-through average by 0.8%. Media's contribution to that was 1.5%. So we were the only ones that informed the greater output of one retailer and everyone else missed. So yes, we're gonna use this a lot more, so much so that we had our CEO, Michelle Buck, on stage at CAGNY talking about this exact initiative. So it excited everyone through the business, and again, the media itself was still nationally recognized across everything. It was the data input and the inform that allowed us to drive that greater business output. So all in all, what we've learned quickly, seasonal traffic, seasonal growth can be delivered with non-media based data, no audience data, no ID graphs, none of that. Just really understanding your business itself, using that to create a custom solution. I think there's gonna be a lot more opportunity in the future for brands to start thinking custom first versus really, typical platforms. And again, to create mass scale as any platform, you need to create a scalable solution. This is not at all times for every single brand to create their own, but we've learned a lot. This was one foray into this, and then there's gonna be a lot more to come on top of this. I don't wanna take up too much more time, so I wanna make sure that I give the guys more, but we're gonna jump into another part of this from an AI perspective.
All right.
Thank you.
And sorry, Vinny, I stole your seat here. I'm gonna steal your clicker as well. All right, so a lot to unpack on that, but let's kind of switch to the intersection of AI and market research. So really quick before we're gonna do a demo, as Greg said before, but before we kind of get into that, and while you're catching your breath, you're the head of media and analytics for Hershey. You're very scientific, as it sounds. So talk to us a little bit about the type of research that you do, right? And if you kind of give us a little bit of a glimpse about how you personally, as a senior decision maker, what kind of access to data you have, given like all the responsibilities that you have.
A lot of different things to unpack in there. So I'll start with the consumer research first. I think so that team is well designed, sits within our growth office, and a lot of our consumer research data is truly based on what's happening in the world. So economic impact. A lot of what we look at is, what are consumer habits that are changing? Are people buying more coffee and eating out more? Those signals start to inform some of the business realities for us. And then we also look at layers of just eater data. So panel of people, how does it taste? What's the texture? What's the feel? But I think what we miss, those two are great and they've informed a really rich decision-making output for us, but what we're missing is really understanding how you feel when you eat is great, but you may not be the eater when you go purchase us. So who else is buying us and why? Is their household makeup different, is, again, a different cohort with the generations, Generational Z right now. They respond and react very different, and nothing about eater data is going to tell us what they're inclined to go after. So I think there's an evolution coming for sure. We've talked a lot about this, and this is why we're here in a way, but market research should be the #1 inform for all communications planning from a media perspective. So if you bring it back to media, media should start in communications planning first to then go into tactical planning thereafter. And I think you can't do comms planning without understanding the who behind all of this.
Okay, so the who. Segue to US. Talk to us a little bit about what you guys have been doing. Here's a promise that we're seeing in terms of what we can and want to do with AI and market research. Can we collapse the distance between business and consumer?
The short answer is we believe we can, and we use the word collapse a lot when we talk about AI. AI is a collapsing function. Collapses silos, steps, time, spend.
Collapse the funnel.
And the hypothesis here is by combining LLMs, conversational technology that's broadly sort of synthesized massive amounts of data, with real queryable data sets, and we have Claritas as a partner, via RAG, and this gets a little nerdy, but it means you can have conversational interactions that are also based on real data. So the problem of an LLM is that it can be confidently wrong. Our ability to connect that to a massive amount of data from the US market is proving to be a really powerful tool to get to insights faster. And the internal, and we'll get to a demo, the internal tagline is from 3 months down to 3 prompts. We're currently testing this. This is MMA, so for us it's important to have statistical proof that it's working, which is a bit of a call to arms to marketers in the room. But the initial results are really impressive.
Very cool. All right, so can we put the screen on what Sandra is looking at there? So we're gonna do a real kind of live television kind of thing. So here's how it's gonna go down, right? So Vinny, I'm gonna ask you to pick a persona, like someone that, you know, is like, I don't know, like you can say middle-aged man, health conscious, or you can say something else. You can say mom with 3 kids. Pick a persona, and now we can all see what Sandra's gonna be basically. Give us some characteristics.
Let's think about a family that has both working parents. Who's
But let's
always
pick
on
one
the go.
because we're going to be talking to one person right now.
So let's talk about the working mom.
Working mom, okay. Working mom, okay. All right. Any other qualifiers? Is into sailing or whatever? No, golf, whatever.
I mean, I'm trying to put my wife's.
Anyway, he pressed the button.
Here.
All right, so let's see what this is going to come up with. It says 38, Sarah Johnson. Let's go with that for now because I think we're running out of time, right?
Perfect.
So let's chat.
Let's chat.
Let's chat.
All right. So, all right. How are you? Let's see Sarah Johnson. Okay. All right. So, ask a question.
Any question?
Well, yeah. I mean, probably like, you know, not very sensitive questions on stage.
We were talking backstage. I think it's a great one of like, do you have guilty pleasures in snacking?
Right at the heart of it. Okay. Guilty pleasures.
pleasures.
Oh, go-to pleasures. Oh. Live television. Okay.
Do you ever mix in chocolate?
All right, moderate key, but we're gonna treat it here.
Perfect competitor, right in the answer.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what you're gonna get.
You don't. It's quite a competitive conquest thing we can use.
So what you can ask is, why does she choose this over Hershey's? And how
Sure.
can we convince her to maybe try out Hershey's?
Why M&M's versus Reese's peanut butter cups?
Sometimes we say, don't ask the question that you don't know the answer. So we'll see.
I may not like the answer
You
either.
have to love a live demo.
Reese's.
Yes.
Reese's.
Yes, yep.
Yeah. Satisfied crunch. Don't get me wrong.
Great market research.
Yeah.
doesn't solve the problem. No, it's really
There's a
powerful.
special trait to M&Ms
Yeah.
apparently that she has an interest in.
She
based
really
on the
likes
data
that
we
shell.
have.
Right.
But you can still ask her and probe her and say, okay, if there was one element in Reese's that you could change.
You see live television, he misspelled elements, so let's see what's going to happen with that. Ah, you changed it.
What would it be? So now she's going to compare all of the information with the two different candies and give you a suggestion on what motivates her to perhaps change something. So if they are
bite-sized
smaller,
Reese's minis, or even just breaking the cups into quarters. Okay, here's some ideas for you to kind of consider. Do we want to kind of open to the audience? Does anyone have a question? Want to shout out? Can see anyone? No? Oh, there he is. Yeah, shout out. Didn't hear that.
the M&M's
M&M's
marketing, and, well, sorry, what was the second part? Oh, good one. Yeah. What do you
Thanks,
think
Lauren.
of M&M's marketing?
Yeah.
And what can Reese's do to improve theirs?
I mean, they could.
Yeah.
We're really
So every time we ask a question,
Yeah.
it pulls information out of the database of proximity, the 5 million data points,
More creative flavors.
and that is reflected in this answer.
So more creative flavors. Okay. So kind of running out of time, but I want to ask also a human question. Like,
Sure.
can you ask that, Sarah? Tell us something funny that happened to her yesterday or last week with her family. Right.
Tell us something funny that happened to you
And
recently.
see if the answer is funny.
showing more of a human side of it.
Yeah. Right. Fail moment. We all have one. Get in the car, study there. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna live with that moment. Yeah. So, Vinny.
Never experienced that.
Never experienced that, but it's
First time
always the
for
first time.
everything.
So, let's final thoughts about this. We're gonna be doing a lot more, obviously. We want to do, and that's an invitation that Greg kind of said before. We're going to do a kind of real research test of really kind of comparing, the answers from Sarah and all the other personas versus like, whatever, a truth set of real transcriptions or like quant or qual or whatever. So if you are interested in this, and I think we're going to have to, there's going to be a QR code, just scan this and reach out to us. But any final thoughts? Vinny, first to you in terms of like, what do you see here? Do you see potential? Where do you see this going next?
Yeah, I think when you look at this type of research, it's usually not that fast at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You go through panels and iterations, and it typically doesn't always sit either with your team. Like having immediacy, we have a tool like this and the ability to like start asking questions
Right.
as we're building, whether it's brand plans or our
Right.
year activation.
So rapid
strategies.
iteration and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I mean,
getting
it's
to that.
fascinating to
Yeah.
start thinking, okay, well, clearly our creative isn't very good.
Yeah.
Or we need iterations of our creative based on this.
Yeah, there you go.
Fun.
Yeah.
So like, it's interesting to start using some of this. I think it's always going to be important to understand where the data is coming from.
Yeah.
So that it's
Yeah, and have that
trustworthy, but-
validation that, you can.
But the speed of
yeah.
response
The
is
speed of
really
response
valuable.
is amazing, yeah. Where are you going next with this?
Well, I think that's the takeaway. If you think about AI as a speed and scale solution, the ability to run through massive amounts of data in close to real time and really dig into those conversations, we've released it to our strategists and researchers.
Yeah.
And it's completely changed that
Yeah.
process. We're
Yeah.
seeing it compress insight to strategy to create it.
Right. Qual and quant, by the way?
Qual and quant.
Qual and quant. All right, so qual and quant, we're 3 minutes late. I don't know how that happened, but we're late.
Greg
So
talked too long.
yeah, thank you to all. Scan that code if you want to kind of learn more and maybe participate in the research project that we want to do. Thank you all.
But thank you.